Mark Twain was born Samuel Langhorne Clemens on November 30th, 1835, to Jane and John Clemens. He had 6 siblings, but only 3 survived. His father died when he was only 11 years old. Clemens was born in Florida, Missouri, and was raised in Hannibal, Missouri. Hannibal would become an inspiration for settings in some of his stories, like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. In his early adulthood, Samuel Clemens worked on a steamboat with his brother Henry. In 1858, Henry died while working on the steamboat. Samuel blamed himself for his brother's death. He had had a dream of his brother's death a month before it had happened. Clemens got his start in writing by working for newspapers. He worked for a Virginia newspaper called the Territorial Enterprise. This is where he first used his pen name, Mark Twain, a name that years later would be recognized as one of the most famous American writers. Mark Twain also worked in Buffalo for a newspaper called Buffalo Express. Mark Twain was an honorary member of Yale's secret society, Scroll and Key, in 1868. Samuel Clemens met Olivia Langdon in 1867. On their first date, they went to a reading by Charles Dickens. Samuel Clemens courted Olivia for a few years before proposing. Although his first proposal was rejected, Samuel and Olivia were engaged 2 months later. The couple married in February 1870. Life was hard at first for Mark Twain and Olivia Langdon. Olivia's father died soon after they were married. The two had 4 children, Susie, Clara, Jean, and Langdon. Langdon died at 19 months old. Twain's marriage ended after 34 years when Olivia died in 1904. Mark Twain was good friends with Nikola Tesla, a prominent inventor and engineer during the Industrial Age. Twain invented a self-pasting scrapbook, a history trivia game, and improvements for adjustable and removable straps in clothing. Twain went into debt later in life after a bad investment. Mark Twain traveled a lot and wrote about many of his travels. He wrote about important topics like slavery and racial injustice. Twain often wrote about serious matters disguised in less serious or childlike styles. Mark Twain created many famous writings. Some of these include The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and his autobiography. Mark Twain's writings influenced American literature in many ways. His writings introduced the use of local color to American literature. Before Mark Twain introduced it, local color was not used much. Mark Twain was known for speaking his mind and saying what he wanted to, despite what other people thought. This influenced others to do the same in their writings. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn especially impacted American literature. It impacted American literature through relating language, characters, and settings from the modern era. The novel shows society's actions by using degrading language. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn has influenced American literature by relating characters to real people and dialects to their appropriate era. Many call Huckleberry Finn the great American novel. Mark Twain's writings continue to influence American writers long after his death in 1910.
Twain very briefly served in the Confederate military. That did not work out, so he then headed west with his brother. He eventually made his way to San Francisco and really began his career again as a journalist.
Twain's first big literary break came in 1865 with the publication of Jim Smiley and His Jumping Frog.
It was a huge success and was printed and reprinted all over the country.